Found a teen sleeping in our detached garage. What would you do? When I was in high school, I had a friend that had a rough home life. By that point my parents were divorced, and I lived with my mother only. When Mom found out about my friend's situation, she extended an invitation for my friend to move in with us until she found a place she can move into on her own. All you people are amazing. On behalf of those kids, you're the best FR. He wouldn't be sleeping in your garage if there weren't huge problems at home. At least he felt safe enough to come to your house. I have been this kid several times in my life, sleeping at my good friends' houses, being snuck food discovered by parents at a later time. I needed some place safe to go. I don't know what the legality of what I'm going to tell you next is. That kid does not feel safe. Involving the authorities will only further his distrust of every adult. Involving his parents will give him one less safe place to go. Offer them a shower, a toothbrush, and a couch. Try not to make a big deal out of it. Make them feel welcome. Because they clearly don't at home. These loving graces were taught to me by adults that understood not all homes are equal. Talk to your kid about them. This kid probably needs a lot of help, and if they're coming to your garage to sleep, try and sit down and talk to them and get things from their point of view. I had a friend in high school who would occasionally show up on my screened porch and just rest there, because he was having troubles at home. Eventually, he wound up living with us for a bit until he went off to join the military. So many kids from bad homes go to the military. When I was a preteen/teenager, 31 now, I was all but abandoned. We had a house, etc. But Mom was married to a very physically abusive stepfather. My bio dad left before I was born. I moved in with my friend at the time. His mom took care of me like her own. A warm bed. Toothbrush, yeah. Didn't even have that. Free square meals. And a ride to school, yup, Mom was a real winner. We're still brothers to this day. If this child is your children's friend, you have an opportunity to save someone. I forever love you for saving me, Miss Theory. Rest in peace. Tell him you guys are a safe place if he needs it. Set up somewhere safe and warm he can come when needed without feeling like he is bothering you. You might not feel okay giving Hina a house key, but maybe set up a sofa bed, blankets, deodorant, some snacks in the garage. He'll open up soon enough once he feels safe. You could invite him in next time. He's a kid and clearly needs some help. They have stayed here before and are more than welcome anytime. We woke our kid and had them in for food immediately after discovering them. They were not with our teen yesterday. If you have the room, let them stay with you. You said they were a friend of one of your children. Children don't belong on the streets. Showing compassion and kindness will hopefully be imprinted on children as they grow older. I was one of those teens, back in the 90s, lived with my grandfather until he died. I was 16. Looking back, all the red flags were there, but I didn't have any help. Couch surfed 2 years and still graduated high school. I had a teacher who used to bring me leftovers and a friend's mom who used to let me stay in the basement in the winter. I wouldn't have made it without either of them. As a parent, you are in a position to be a huge impact to this teen, even in the smallest of ways. I was that kid, and your kid most likely let them in or left it open for them. Nope. They used a knife, but didn't permanently damage any mechanism. They did message my child, but he sleeps hard. I have been this kid. I had a shit home life, and even the thought of sleeping at home was enough to keep me awake at night. So I would leave in the middle of the night and sleep at the park. Eventually, I made a friend named Nick. Nick never asked me about my home life, and I never spoke of it. Nick's parents were better off, and similar to this story, had a detached garage with a heater in it. I had only been to Nick's house a few times, but knew the side door to the garage was always left unlocked and that his parents parked in front of the garage and not in it. On cold nights I would walk about 2 miles to get to Nick's house and sleep in the garage. One morning his dad needed a tool from the garage and opened it to find me sleeping on the floor by their heater. I hadn't spoken much to him at that point. Just hellos and goodbyes. He offered to let me sleep on the couch and then from there gave me a key to the place in the stipulation that if I ever needed a place to sleep it was available. I don't talk to Nick anymore or his parents, but I am forever grateful for what they did for me during that hard period of my life. I used to sneak into my friend's car and sleep in the back seat/trunk during winter when I didn't want to go home. My home life was atrocious. Said friend's parents caught me a couple times and would tell me to go in and sleep on the couch and that there were blankets in the closet. They tried to talk to me about it, but it wasn't really something I wanted to discuss, so they just told me that if I ever needed a place to sleep, then just come in and grab a couch in the basement. They hid a key especially for me for when I needed it. I strongly consider them to be my second set of better parents. Many years later, I was writing a wedding invitation to them and their family and broke down crying from thinking about all the love and support they have shown me over the years. We're not blood, but I consider them to be more family than anyone I'm related to. Now I have 3 beautiful kids and they consider them their grandkids. Couldn't have asked for better people in my life. I have been on Reddit for years now, and for whatever reason this post unlocked a part of my memory. I had a pretty shit childhood. High school was the worst of it. Physical and verbal abuse. I was a social pariah. We had a new kid move to my hometown. Small town. I had 0 friends at that point. Mostly self-inflicted stupidity on my part. I was pretty close to ending everything. We became friends. It never occurred to me until I read this post and the responses that this kid's parents saved my life. They took me in. Fed me. Treated me like a son. Clothes, food, money. I spent almost every night there. My parents never cared. I hardly ever checked in. My point is this. That kid may be hanging on by a thread and looking for that one lifeline in the middle of a sea of darkness. I never knew I was thrown that lifeline. I feel stupid 30 years later for never seeing it. My parents took a few of my sister and I's friends in over the years. That kid had no choice but to sneak into the only safe place they could find. If this happened to me, I would immediately let them know they have a safe place to stay at my house anytime and get them into a warm bed. They're a kid. They can't support themselves, and some parents aren't capable of taking care of other people. The difference you could make to this kid could mean that they have a safe place to finish high school instead of being homeless, dropping out to work, or worse. Find out what's going on and see what you can do to help.